welcome to this very exciting episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories. We do believe that leadership is an action and not a position, something that Donald Megan said, but it is something that our guest speaker truly believes in, because that is exactly how she takes a lead, especially when it comes to her team. So with me, Isha Phalla, let's get this very exciting conversation started, because the Economic Times Cutting Chai is a series brought to you by ETH, where we get to converse with CXOs, infotain you, our viewers, while enjoying our chai, of course. So it's now time for us to share some beautiful life experiences, leadership styles, and whatnot right here with our very special guest, Ms. Prashanti Bodugum, Vice President Technology and Chennai Center Head, Walmart, a thought leader, someone who's there for her team. She plays a critical role when it comes to enabling the long-term tech strategy for Walmart and for the organization through enablement with the right tools and governance. And the team is so very glad to connect with her. So let me extend a very, very warm welcome to you, ma'am. What a pleasure to have you here on the show.
Thank you so much, Alicia. And I really appreciate you taking the time and speaking to me today, and also showing interest in Walmart Global Tech India. Really appreciate that.
Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. And all our viewers are so very excited to know what your formative years were like. Any few incidents maybe you can share with us that have helped shape you?
Absolutely. A lot come to my mind. However, I just want to touch upon a couple of them. The first one is, I had an opportunity in my growing up years to spend a lot of time with my grandmother in a village. Every summer I would go spend time with her. Every winter, holidays, I would be there with her. So it gave me an experience to go and farm with her in the fields. What it taught me is how you can roll up your sleeves right there in the paddy fields and be part of that. The relationships, the companionships, the leveraging each other that, collectively comes together to farm. And most importantly, the hard work and the outcomes. It had a lasting impression on me. And I would say when it comes to resilience, when it comes to hard work, it's all through that experience that I have gathered. The other experience that I can talk to you about is my own journey when it comes to my education. I'm not the regular, BE engineering, kind of a career, education path. I happened to pick BSc Physics. I continued to do my MSc in Physics. And then it kind of led me to kind of take up MS in Computer Science from US. So when I look at all of that, the most important thing to me was problem solving techniques that I was gathering all through. And I kind of learned the passion and how I put over the complexity of, going through a different route to get to what, I really thought was the right thing for me. So it's interesting journey, but these two things come to my mind right now.
It's so very nice that you took us back to those years and a recap of your journey. You also shared the example of how your grandmother was your role model in all those growing up years, how much you learned from her. So if I was to ask you that in your professional journey, who was that one person that you really look up to, somebody who inspired you, somebody who mentored you?
There are many of them through the 25 years of experience that I've gathered. Every organization that I spent time, there have been leaders that I looked up to who helped me grow, who helped me nurture. So there would be many, but one person, if I need to call out, is a leader who is retired right now, but her name is Melly Shermer. She was my first inspiration in terms of getting into leadership.
You did share a name that has stayed with you till date, the leadership styles that have shared with you. And that is exactly what takes me to my next question. There might be many of our viewers out there who want to follow your leadership style. So this makes me want to ask you that how is it that you define your leadership style? What are the traits that you feel that are really there and that make you successful?
Oh, very interesting question. Something I would tie back again to my first experience in my career. It's always about, what I learned in my career at GE. It's the 4 E's that stay with you. The first one is all about having an edge in terms of what you do. So which means you can talk about that as your business acumen. You could talk about your depth in technology. You could talk about anything, but that's the first one. It's all about having an edge, knowing your business. The second E I always attributed to was, or E is about the energy that you can carry in terms of, everything that you want to solve or everything that you want to, do, right, perform. The third one is a seamless execution. You have your energy, but at the end of the day, and you also know what your customers want. So the seamless execution of what you have, laid out to achieve. And the last one is all about the people. If you don't energize them, if you are not able to take them along on what you saw as a goal that you want to achieve, then there is no outcome. So it's all about how you're energizing others. So that to till date, has been my mantra of how I, how I mold myself, how I evolve myself, but the fundamentals of those 4 E's remain with me.
And thank you for sharing that special mantra with us. So the 4 E's really staying with you. And this is what makes me want to ask you that, in these 25 years of very, very vast and diverse experience that you've had, there must have been many, many accomplishments that you're so very proud of. But if I was to ask you, what is that one or maybe two things that really make you very proud that, yes, I did this? What would those be?
The first and foremost that comes to my mind is trying to build trust and relationship with my European customers and delivering their work from India. That was a magnanimous effort. And during the time when, Europe was still thinking about how they can leverage India for outsourcing. So that's the one that remains with me as the most learning experience of everything that I've done so far.
And how beautifully you shared that with us. And, this also makes me want to know, and I'm sure so do our viewers, that what do you feel is the importance of teamwork and how do you feel that you create that bond within your team and make sure that you motivate them?
It's just a couple of days back, I learned this whole thing, right, of a harmony of orchestration. If you see any link that you can visualize, it's all about how beautifully they're interlocked to create that, chain for you, right? If you were to look at any one of them, which would probably be, out of shape or out of the overall, what do you call as a uniformity,
Right.
that what you see as chain may not be exactly the same, right? You will start seeing the defects in it. I actually tend to see every single problem that we solve for our business is a link or a chain which has upstream and a downstream effort. It takes every single person in this whole chain to come together to create that story for you. If you kind of ignore one of the business asks, or if you try to ignore one of the engineering ways of setting it up, or if you ignore what we call as user experience or user interface, there is no way you can create that harmony in the way you build the product, right? So it's extremely important. And as times evolve, we are just becoming so seamless and breaking the silos of what the business wants, what, the user experience is talking about, and how we are building the products. Therefore, helping our consumers adopt it, right? It's evolving. And as we evolve, it's extremely important that, we create that collaboration and teamwork, not just within your teams, but across the teams. And for us to do that, trust and relationship become extremely important. And that speaks it all about the team spirit and how you evolve the teams.
You spoke about how harmony is needed, not just within the team, but also outside, to make sure that the organization goals are very, very similar when one thinks of it. So if any one of our viewers watching the show want to be a part of your team, so what is that one thing that you definitely feel is a must have for you, especially if you feel that they're the perfect fit in your team?
I think anybody that demonstrates the customer centricity, anybody that can tell me a story of how they solved a customer's problem and ensured that, end of the day, there are many reasons why we will not be able to service a customer. But if they've been able to show me or demonstrate to me their passion towards customer centricity, they're on my team.
Fantastic. And I'm sure a lot of them would want to. So let me ask you here, if there was this one message that you'd like to give to the youth of today, what a leader must definitely have, how they can look forward to a bright future, what would that message be?
I think I called it out, which I believe in, which is, what I said with the 4 E's, but I'll try to, say it in a different way. The first and foremost thing for anybody is knowing your business, right? It's extremely important that you know your business and you know your customer. That's like non-negotiable to start with. Then once you know them, it's easy for you to deliver. Technologies keep coming and going, but what remains constant is the business need and the customer's changing dynamics. So it's extremely important that you know your customer. And the second is apply your skills and apply the technologies that you have learned to deliver seamlessly to those needs. That becomes extremely important. And then the most important thing that I mentioned is taking the people along with you. It doesn't have to be you alone doing it. It's about you taking the team along with you and experiencing those outcomes, celebrating the successes and the failures absolutely in the same spirit. When you do this, you will develop that passion to continuously keep doing it and continuously evolving yourself. And that leads to, you defining your purpose.
Fantastic points mentioned by you there, and that makes me want to really change gears now. And you said it yourself that in the last few years the market's really changed, it's evolved. One wants to give the very best user experience. So to ask you that, with work really increasing so many folds, it's become very challenging for one to create time for oneself and really create that perfect work-life balance. So how is it that you do it?
There is work, there is life. It's about how you choose the priorities at what time. It's about giving yourself time and not being guilty about giving yourself time, because that's very important. So there are times when you get too busy with your work. There are times when you can take a pause, relook at where you are, about your own energy levels, and how do you want to recoup that energy to get back and take a much bigger leap. So it's always that mix, and it's about how you define it. One thing that I try to do, but I'm not great at it, is trying to spend some time for myself every single day in some form or shape, just to keep myself active. So that's what I do, and that's incredible amount of energy that I gain to run the day in the way I want it. So that's what I do.
Right. So really spending time with yourself and making sure that you have that special me time that gives you the best push that you need. Okay, this was absolutely beautiful. And I'm so thankful to you for joining us. There are so many points that our viewers would have learned from this discussion. And that is what makes me want to know more about you when you're not in your leadership role. So I'd like to begin with a rapid fire. Are you all set?
Absolutely.
All right, so very quickly, you have to choose either or. Do you believe in shopping therapy or travel therapy?
Travel therapy.
Comfort wear or saris on a weekend?
Comfort wear.
Work or play?
Work.
Evenings or early mornings?
Early mornings.
Love or friendship?
Friendship.
Will it be a dosai for you or will it be Chinese?
Dosai. Any day.
Any day. And your favorite meal of the day? Is it breakfast with family or dinner with family?
Breakfast with family.
And let me end by asking you what your favorite beverage is, what keeps you energized through the day. Is it a very special cutting chai or will it be Chennai's coffee?
This has to be both because I start my day with a cutting chai and I end my day with a nice South Indian filter coffee. And I keep reversing them once in a while.
And I look forward to meeting you in person and enjoying both those drinks with you.
Absolutely.
So thank you so very much, ma'am, for joining us. And we definitely had a very, very enriching discussion with our viewers, really learning so much and taking away so much knowledge from you. Thank you so very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you right here as we take the Cutting Chai series forward. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
And to all our viewers, thank you so very much for watching. We promise to get you many more fun and knowledge gaining experiences and episodes in the upcoming season. Thank you for joining us.